And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm Bill Tucker, filling in for Steve. Joining us now is John Zogby. He is a Newsmax contributor, senior partner at John Zogby Strategies, director for the Keenan Center for Entrepreneurship, and author of the book, We Are One, We Are Many, Neo-Tribes and Tribal Analytics in the 21st Century America. It's a little longer than the actual title, but I gave it a little bit of flourish. John, welcome back. I'm glad you could be here. I'm really glad you could be here because I have looked at polls today, and they're all over the place.
Yep.
So we got a lot of ground to cover. First, let's cover what seem to be conflicting polls. You got a Rasmussen poll that's a daily poll that says they're tied again. You've got a CNN ORC poll, Opinion Research Center poll, which says that Hillary is up, and the reason that she's up over Trump is because of men and independence. Then you've got a number of other polls which show in the battleground states things are really tight, but mostly they pretty much belong to Mrs. Clinton. What's your read on all these different polls?
The message is clear. To varying degrees, Secretary Clinton is up in the polls. Mm-hmm. Probably deservedly so. Donald Trump has had a bad week, a bad debate performance. The more we consider that. But I want to remind your viewers that the last four presidential elections were very close and very competitive throughout most of the campaign cycle, and we saw ebbs and flows. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were points, Bush versus Gore in 2000, where Bush was up by as much as 6 or 7 points and couldn't close the deal. He'd go down, and then Gore would be up by 6 or 7 points. This took place. There were 3 different cycles where that happened. The same with John Kerry and George W. Bush in 2004. At that point, it was more John Kerry kind of frozen and Bush's numbers going up and down, sometimes Kerry in the lead. And so we're probably seeing an element of that right now. The deal's not closed yet.
Yeah, can Mr. Trump rescue himself? Because candidly, I know a number of people who are Trump supporters, and I can't use the language that they used with me in describing his debate performance and what they think of maybe his intellectual capacity at this point. Do you think it is possible that Mr. Trump is going to listen to somebody for a change and improve? Or, I have to say, it really appears like he's handed this over to Mrs. Clinton.
Well, he is trying very hard to hand it over to Mrs. Clinton, but his numbers have stayed fairly static. You know, he's been in the 39 to 42% range. And will he listen to anyone? I'm just a pollster. I'm not a.
Yeah, I know you're not. I know you're not a strategist or anything else. But what about this tax issue? Do you think this moves the needle for people at all?
I don't. In all honesty, I don't. No, Americans don't like it when people don't abide by the rules. But if somebody is abiding by the rules, I don't think that it hurts him. But he's got to get back on his message. He can't be playing defense.
Yeah, and that's the thing he seems to do. Not only play defense, he seems to describe his campaign as one that's better than her, as opposed to this is what my campaign is about. As a pollster and a seasoned one at that, is there something that you see that he should be doing that he's just simply not doing?
Sure, he needs to. Remember, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
That was just a metaphor in 1992 for stay on message, don't get off on other things. Just keep saying it's about change, I can do better. That's what he has to do. Getting into the issues of Venezuelan beauty queens and his taxes. Why is he on the defensive all the time? He puts himself on the defensive all the time. He's got to go on the offense. We're about to get some WikiLeaks documents. I don't know what those are, but I suppose they're going to be damaging. If Julian Assange is smart, he's saving the best for last, and he's going to going to do a slow roll out. This is a time for Trump now to get focused and on message. What he doesn't want to have happen is he becomes the issue instead of her.
Well, it's really interesting. I was talking to a guy this morning at the gym, and he said to me, I really hope that Julian Assange has something and WikiLeaks has something. And today he just, in his press conference, he seemed to kind of leave that hanging as to whether there will be a surprise or not. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that context, John.
Yeah, and I don't know. And you heard it here exclusively on Steve Malzberg's show.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most honest pollster in America, John Zogby. John, thanks. We're going to have to run now. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. John Zogby, Newsmax contributor, and he is the senior partner, John Zogby Strategy.